morning, good afternoon, good evening, love people. Welcome back to Minnie's Mental Health. How are you today? Where are you around this globe? Thank you so much for joining me on another edition of Minnie's Mental Health, where I share my journey on being a diasporan, how topics of mental health, how it affected me obviously as a young girl, even into adulthood, but I also related to being a child because my passion is children's mental health. So just to refresh and to remind all of you what my channel is all about, you're welcome. Thank you for joining me. So on today's edition, I'm going to continue on from my university experience. So in my last video, I talked about how I wasted a lot of time. I didn't have good time management, whereas I could have been focusing on what I actually wanted to do, which was also part of the reason why I wasted time, because I knew what I wanted to do in my heart, but I chose to do something that I thought logically would make sense and would get me a better job. But anyway, my video today is about distractions. So that's another topic which I think really affects everyone's mental health. So obviously my main sort of genre, could I say, is young children. So from 0 to probably 14. So they're known as Generation Alphas, yes. And then from the teenagers, so 14 to 24, they're known as Generation Z. Yeah, so basically this applies to everyone, but obviously my passion is children. We're so much distracted. This particular age group, they grew up around technology, they grew up around social media, and studies have shown basically that current research has shown that they can only concentrate. So in general, obviously, they can only concentrate for about 28 seconds, and they tend to get engrossed more in pictures, digital images, than texts and reading. So that just shows you basically that we are a distracted generation. Even though I'm part of the millennial generation, but in overall we are a distracted generation. Everything distracts us these days. And think about children. So how does that sort of link to mental health? How can we be focused on, maybe let's say I have a goal of like losing weight or reading more or something, if you're distracted by so many things? I say this to you, I'm saying it to myself as well. I know I'm distracted, and it's not really ideal for our mental well-being to be distracted at all times. You know, if it's not social media, we've got TV, we've got even friends, family, sometimes, in different environments. I don't know if you've ever been in a room where you wanted to focus and concentrate and you couldn't hear yourself think because so many people were talking, so many things happened. There were so many things happening, a lot of stimulation. So imagine for children who, a lot of them can't really articulate, that maybe they might need a break, that their minds are busy, their brains are screaming and shouting, as in like the amount of stimulants out there for children is too much at times. I'll say that as a parent, for myself, I'm admitting, so I'm not coming on here and saying that I'm perfect. I'm admitting that yes, I'm distracted as well. I know that my phone is my distraction basically, and it's something that I'm sure not just me, if you're interested in having like a soundness of, like, how can I explain it? It's like sometimes like a quietness of the mind. I think it's something that's ancient these days. Like, it's very important. I know different religions suggest that, we have things like meditation, yoga. Honestly, I'm biased. I'm a Christian. I don't think that yoga and meditation are the way forward, really. But I won't go into that. If you want My advice on that, you can message me directly and I will give you my advice. But just in general, just to calm our minds, how to help children calm their minds. I'd say that when, for example, it's my own advice. When I was growing up, obviously there was the internet, but we were not surrounded by it. We used to have conversations, we used to play with our friends outside. So I'd say, just observing from my childhood, I'd say basically for parents and caregivers, just to keep it simple at times. It doesn't always have to be the phone, the iPad, and everything else in the house, and everyone having their own TV in their room. Everyone having their own TV in their own room, iPads, everything. It doesn't have to be that way. If you want to help children to kind of focus and just have that time to think, sometimes let it be just you and them. Go out for walks, do something where it doesn't involve being like digitally stimulated. I know it's easier said than done. As I said before, I'm saying it to myself, but it's very important to sort of eliminate distractions. I won't even talk about social media. I've already got a video about social media and the impact of social media, the negative impact of social media on our mental health, and that includes children, young adults, everyone. And then another thing I'd say is, depending if you have a faith or religion, even if you don't, whatever things that are positive and good, just focus on them. As we know, all the mantras, like the positivity mindset, they are true. Like, focus on the positives, because have you ever noticed that if you surround yourself with negativity all the time, you get down, you get low? Like, think of it, even children, that's why, just because maybe they're not directly involved in, for example, like they witness abuse or something, just by them witnessing the abuse, it affects their mental health, like, negatively. So I'd just say, just to be mindful of our spaces, our environments, to keep it simple at times, focus on the positives. One of the ways that I do that personally is, I don't immerse myself in the news. I'm not saying anything against the news or BBC or CNN. I'm not saying anything. I'm just giving an example that, for me, how I maintain, or how I help myself focus on the positives, is that I don't watch the news. I don't immerse myself in the news. Of course, I like to keep abreast of what's going on, so I'll read the articles that I choose to read, but I will not sit there for 4 hours or so watching BBC, CNN, because in that way I'm just going to drown myself in sorrows, basically. Is there any positive news these days? There's never been, anyway. So anyway, let me not ramble on. I've got so much to say on this, because obviously it's a matter that touches the heart, a story that touches the heart, as my husband says. So God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think about being distracted? How do you sort of reduce your distractions, eliminate them? More importantly, how do you help children? Because obviously that's my passion, my heart's children. Okay, until the next video, God bless you and bye.